Alright, first and foremost, I want to say Kalalal, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Makar Kodash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Grim Stone, and salutations to all the brothers pushing this work in all sincerity and in truth. I'm the brother Hyena from GMS Kingston Jamaica Camp, here again with another quick lesson, demonstrating the word of the scriptures. Now, recently, Floyd Green, which is the agricultural minister of Jamaica, had basically stepped down from his position as the agricultural minister because he breached the DRMA, which is the DRMA. What's that again? Let's look it up. Yes, the Disaster Risk Management Act, right? So he breached the DRMA, the Disaster Risk Management Act, right? And the the consequence that he faced was just to come out and apologize to the nation, right, for the breach and resign from his position. Now we can see the disparity in which his case has been handled in comparison to the other cases that has been handled in respect of persons breaching the DRMA, right? And this is written in the scriptures, man. You understand? When you jump to the book of when you jump to the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 13, starting at verse 2, it says, "Burden not thyself above thy power while thou livest, and have no fellowship with one that is mightier and richer than thee. For how agree the kettle and the earthen pot together? For if the one be smitten against the other, it shall be broken." You understand? The might and strength of the executive body of Jamaica is different from that of the might and strength of the inner city community citizens. You understand? So they are being treated in respect to the laws of the land with a vast disparity. You understand? There is a difference in how they are being treated. Now let's watch this video and see what this I think is a MP, right, is saying.
I don't think he had much of a choice.
Right, Julian Robinson, MP of South St. Andrews, South Eastern.
I think he had to resign given how egregious that breach was. It's actually a breach of the DRMA, and people have been arrested for doing less than that.
Exactly. He has said it. People has been arrested, hauled out of their houses, placed into public and national embarrassment for doing less than that, right? This man, Floyd Green, had a party with multiple bodies or individuals that represent the parliament, right? And what happened? He just get a slap on the wrist. You understand? So you can see the vast difference in how the government, the vast difference in how the laws are applied to these men in comparison to how the laws are applied to poorer class citizens.
We can't operate where we have two Jamaicas, where poor black men are hauled from under the bed, are made to make public apologies, while others can flagrantly disregard the laws.
And that will never happen. You will never have a Jamaica where the laws are applied equally to both lower income citizens or citizens with less power or status than how they're applied with to citizens with more power, affluence and status. That will never happen.
We already seen a situation where tourists can come into our country and roam freely and Jamaicans can't. We'll see a situation where a cruise ship comes into Jamaica and small craft vendors can't participate.
And that is to show you that the application of the laws of the land isn't for the elites, right? It isn't for them that are in power. It is for the ones who are the slaves, the servants of society, right? That is who the laws and policies of the country applies to. You understand? These men are basically immune to the impacts of the laws. They can get away with murder, And this is just a small example of them getting away with these things.
But bigger businesses can. We can't operate in a situation where there's one set of rules for one set of Jamaicans and another set of rules for another Jamaicans.
Exactly, and that is what is happening, man. There are one set of rules for a particular set of Jamaicans and another set of rules for the higher level of started Jamaicans, man. You understand? Ecclesiastes 13:3, it said, a rich man had done wrong, and yet he threatened it withal. The poor is wrong, and he must entreat also. Right? The poor is wrong, and he must entreat. You understand? The word entreat means to beg. You understand? Jahil Higgins. What happened to that man? Them go in their house, find wherever him there, find him, and bring him on national television for come apologize for what he said to the government. That is tyranny, right? The scriptures go and say, if thou be for his profit, he will use thee, but if thou have nothing, he will forsake thee. If thou have anything, he will live with thee. Yea, he will make thee bear, and will not be sorry for it. If he have need of thee, he will deceive thee, and smile upon thee, and put thee in hope. He will speak thee fair, and say, what wantest thou? And that is what these politicians do, man. Them come up with a two-face. You understand? Because them need you to accept their agenda and accept their autonomy. Them come and speak smooth things, but in the back end of things, they are deceiving you. You understand? With what did Andrew say? I did a video on this recently. Andrew said the acts that Floyd Green had is basically made a breach in the moral suasion, because moral suasion is what he's using to influence the direction of behavior and influence of the people. You understand? So they are deceiving you by speaking fear and asking you what you want, right? To get you into a particular way of move or mindset. You understand? That is what they are doing, man. Continuing to say, and he will shame thee by his meats until he have drawn thee dry twice or thrice. And at the last he will laugh thee to scorn, and afterward, when he sees thee, he will forsake thee and shake his head at thee. Beware that thou be not deceived and brought down in thy ility. I don't know what I read. If thou be invited of a mighty man, withdraw thyself, and so much the more will he invite thee. Press thou not upon him, lest thou be put back, and stand not far off, lest thou be forgotten. Jumping down to verse 20. It says, as the proud hate humility, so do the rich abhor the poor. A rich man beginning to fall is held up of his friends, but a poor man being down is thrust also away by his friends. Right? So let's say it says that a rich man beginning to fall is held up by his friend. Right? What happened when Floyd Green stepped down from his position of Minister of Agriculture? He was offered a different position. Andrew only said that this man will be placed in a position of where his skill set will be of use. So we can clearly see that the application of justice is not broad spending. You understand? You can see that the application of justice isn't for everyone, because this man is placed in a position separate from the one that he had, when he should have been completely removed from governance. Right? Jump into the book of Habakkuk chapter 1. Habakkuk chapter 1 verse 4. Therefore the law is slacked, and judgment doeth never go forth, for the wicked doeth compass about the righteous. Therefore wrong judgment proceeded. You understand? The law is slack, man. And that is basically what is happening right now, man. Verse 22 say, a rich man is fallen, and he had many helpers. He speaketh things not to be spoken, and yet men justify him. Right? The poor man slipped, and yet they rebuked him too. He speak wisely and could have no place. Right? So there's a difference in the application of laws between the rich and the poor. Let me play this other video from
beyond MP Green and Councillor Bellamy.
Right? So
beyond MP Green
and Councillor Bellamy.
Beyond MP Green and Councillor Bellamy, there are other public officials, people who are paid by taxpayers, who either work in central government or in government agencies, for whom there should be sanctions.
Exactly. So where are those men that Julian is talking about? Where are the men who should be given sanctions that Julian is talking about, man? Right? There aren't any sanctions being applied to them because they are not in the public space as how Floyd Green is in the public space. So Floyd Green is the one that will basically have to take the heat for what is happening. But if there was a significance of application of the law, there would have been the application or sanctions in regards to these other men that Julian is making reference to. Right? Back it up a little.
Public officials, people who are paid by taxpayers, who either work in central government or in government agencies, for whom there should be sanctions. The Prime Minister's one of his photographers was in that video, and also an employee of the NSWMA. There should be action taken against them, and if there are other public officials who participated as well. So for me,
exactly, man. There should have been actions against them as well, but there aren't actions against them. You understand? Because the application of laws and policies is not in regards to them. You understand? It is in regards to the poorer citizens of society. Right? Let me just read about that again in Ecclesiasticus. It says, a rich man beginneth to fall and is held up of his friend, but a poor man being down is thrust also away by his friend. When a rich man is falling, he had many helpers. He speaketh things not to be spoken, and yet men justify him. The poor man slippeth, and yet they rebuke him too. He speak wisely, and could have no place. When a rich man speaketh, every man holdeth his tongue, and look what he saith. Thou extol it to the clouds. But if the poor man speak, they say, what fellow is this? And if he stumble, they will help to overthrow him. Riches are good unto him that had no sin, and poverty is evil in the mouth of the ungodly. You understand? So there is a vast disparity between how situations are handled in regards to the rich and the poor. You understand? So there is a vast disparity, man. You understand? Proverbs chapter 14 verse Verse 20, the poor is hated even of his own neighbor, but the rich had many friends. Right? That is straight and to the point. There are men out there that will help them. You understand? That will speak smooth things to them and will basically give them a means of forgiveness and give them a means of rising to remain in their state of opulence and affluence, man. You understand? So that's the lesson, man. There is a vast disparity in how situations are handled with the rich and the poor. You understand? Let me see if I see that. See there, verse 17. Say, what fellowship had the wolf with the lamb? So the sinner with the godly. What agreement is there between the hyena and a dog? And what peace between the rich and the poor? Right? So there is a vast difference between the rich and the poor and how laws are applied to both parties. So with that, I want to say Kalalal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshai, Ba'ashem Makar Kodash, The bonus to the elders and apostles of Stone, and salutations to all the brothers pushing this work in all sincerity and in truth. Shalom.